time it is!
Thank you all for checking out the C Squared Hour. I'm your host, Chris, bringing you another fabulous episode, we'll call it. To be completely transparent, here's what's going on right now. I got a little drunk at a minor league hockey game while watching the NCAA tournament. It's official. We know our Sweet 16 now. The 32 is over. Yes, that is the date I'm doing this. Second of all, I'm dealing with my fucking dog, and she can't decide whether to hang out with me in the studio or to go do her own thing. And we all know how much of a pushover I am when it comes to my dog, so you might have to deal with that as I grab my beer. Here's issue I'm running into, and I know a lot of my squareheads will understand what I'm going through. The first goal I'm trying to reach with this podcast is free beer. It's the only reason I started this. It's not the reason I'm going to finish this. Daddy making a living off this will be the main goal. Sorry, like I said, I got drunk at a minor league hockey game tonight, so this might be a little interesting. But hey, I'm not going to make excuses. Since I just slurred that sentence. My only goal to start this was free beer. The issue I run into is if you're buying a 6-pack in a convenience store, even if they're advertising that they have craft beers and all that, if you're buying a sixer, it's all regional beers, which is great, which is fine. That's what I have going right now. Those fuckers are never going to sponsor me. At least not yet. The way I'm going to get free beers is I'm going to have to go in with one of my growlers and say, hey, fill this up with what you think you want to have advertised. I'll shout it out on my fledgling podcast. But I'm too lazy to do that, so I'm in a conundrum. So if any of you jagoffs know somebody in the Eastern Washington area who has a brewery or homebrews who wants to start a brewery, you know who to talk to. Again, I dealt with a round of 32 night and a minor league hockey game tonight, so it's going to be a bit interesting. My main squareheads are going to be noticing that there is something missing. And you're going to be asking, where is the other Chris? Well, he is doing me a big favor. If you look at the NHL, you look at the most recent night, you look at the Flyers with Ivan Provorov, there was a big issue with, it's not necessarily a big issue, but the goalie and Provorov would not skate warm-ups wearing a Pride jersey. It was against their beliefs, against their religion, whatever. Chris saw that, and he heard me talking about it, and he said, I'm done with this. So he is going to all the heads of the major sports leagues and saying, just fucking stop it. Just stop with the special jerseys. Just stop making them wear the jerseys. If you want to sell them, that's fine. If you want them to be promoted, if you want to sell them in the fucking rink, if you want to give them away in the rink, that's fine. But stop with the whole player promotion special jerseys. No one gives a fuck about those jerseys until it becomes a conflict. Let's stop. Raymer not wearing his jersey became an issue. Provorov not wearing his jersey became an issue. Name the other nights that those jerseys were being worn. Name another team. Name the specific date another team wore the Pride jerseys. Exactly. You don't know. Yes, they are there for a reason. They're trying to. I'm sure that they're selling them for a charity and for. Stop with the game worn. Just let them sign a Pride jersey and auction it off. I'm not even just talking about the LGBTQIA plus. Fuck, I hope I'm not forgetting a letter. I'm not even talking about those. I even like the Irish, the St. Patrick's Day ones. I'm talking about any special jersey that is in honor of a specific group. We could talk Native Americans. We can talk any jersey that's in honor of a special group, because you're gonna run into an issue like you ran into this weekend with a NHL player saying, well, I'm very religious and this is against my religion, so I'm not going to skate warm-ups. Or a gentleman from a different country where this sort of thing. That's another thing. We can't. God damn it. This is. We can't expect other countries to be as forward as we are. And probably the NHL is the most international sports league in North America right now. And so you're expecting people from other countries who aren't advanced as us to be whatever. Here is the point. Chris is going to these leagues, and this was my idea, and he's basically doing this for me, because regardless of how little he shows up to the C squared hour, I mean, Christ, he's the C and I'm the squared. Regardless of how little he shows up, he does a lot for this show, and he is doing it right now. He's going to all these leagues saying, let's stop with the Pride jerseys, with the Native American, the Irish. Let's stop with all those. Because the only thing you're doing is causing trouble for people in the league. And that's what he's saying. Here's the argument I think he might be getting from the NHL. Hey, if we are getting media coverage on the mainstream because a goalie isn't going to wear a Pride jersey, that's better for us than... Which is bullshit. Let's stop pretending these leagues wearing these Pride jerseys, wearing the Irish jerseys, wearing the pink jerseys. Let's stop pretending it's for them. We know it's for the extra revenue. It's another jersey you can sell on your website. We all know that's what you're trying to do. So let's stop putting the players in a stupid position like this and just sell them online. Just sell them online, or put the jerseys you are making them wear in warm-ups, don't make them wear them. Just make them autograph them and sell them online. And put the money to the same place you were going to put it before, man. That's where Chris is. That's what he's doing for me. He's making that argument for me. And quite honestly, this is one of the few real arguments that he has had that I am 100% behind. 100%. 110% behind. Let's stop putting these people in a shitty position. What you're trying to do, we're just going to the NHL specifically right now, because that's where the issues come up. What you're trying to do can still be done. You're trying to make extra revenue by having an extra jersey. You could still do that without having them wear the jersey during warm-ups. Have them sign the jersey you were going to make them wear and send them on their way. And as you could tell, you know me as the libertarian, who gives a flying fuck about what... You know this is nothing with me. I can't speak for Chris, he's not here, but I know him well enough to know that this isn't about him either. This isn't a gay, straight. It's none of that sort of thing. Stop putting people in that position. And by making them, or asking them, or mandating them to wear something like that, you're only asking for an issue, regardless of right or wrong. So Chris is out there basically trying to make sure that the next time there is a night like that, they're not wearing it during warm-ups, they're not wearing it during the game, they're signing it 2 days before the game and auctioning it off. Thanks, bud. Like I said, I got a little buzzed at a minor league hockey game before this, so that may not have come off the best way I was looking at it, or I was trying to make it come out, but the sentiment is correct. By doing stupid night, or, I'm sorry, not stupid, by doing any sort of night that could be seen political, you're only asking for weird shit. Alright. Now that I'm done with telling you where Chris was, I'm gonna have to mention, Randy, the offer's there, buddy. Let's step in the ring. Let's lace him up. See, I want to say drop the gloves because we're both hockey guys, but we're going to step in a boxing ring, so we need to lace the gloves up. So lace them up. Let's go. You're hiking every fucking day. I'm sorry. White person walking. Hiking just annoys me because it's just walking up dirt hills. Like, I walk up hills all the time. I don't call it hiking. I just call it walking. But you're quote unquote hiking all the time, so your cardio's ready to go. I don't know what you're waiting for. Randy, you know this fight has to happen. You know it has to. There's no way around it. You and I both, in the past, have tried to duck this fight. We both have. We know we have. What have you? It has to happen. People are clamoring for it. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but Randy, let's lace him up, buddy. Pick a town, pick a time, I'm there. Another thing that bugs me about, like, fancy craft beers is they try to get all fucking fancy with their names and with the... I'm looking at one right now and they're like, ooh, not only am I looking at one right now, I'm knocking my fucking mic stand with it. They're like, oh, let's try to be fancy with this one. This one has a date on it, so we're gonna look super cool. Just fucking make your fucking beer. Fuck's sakes. Another reason why people I meet in person might not want to do business with me. Alright, so before we get... I already said that. One piece of business I'm gonna drop. There are hats in my merch store now. I've made, 3 or 4 models I've designed. There's more coming. Anyway, if you're anything like me, you're always wearing a hat. So, you can buy hats now in the merch store. All the links are in the bio. Everything's where you need it to be. Buy some shit. Hell, I got a fucking 50-year-old broad sharing it around, so obviously it is resonating with some people, so buy some shit. Because you buy shit, I upgrade the stuff, I go find beer sponsors, and your listening experience gets that much better. Speaking of which, as a podcast host, I do things a lot differently than a lot of other ones do. I don't mind breaking down the fourth wall. In fact, I'm a big fan of breaking down the fourth wall. You're going to know exactly what's going on behind this mic. What's going on right now, I've tried to do this. I'm a fucking head case. Alright, you could go to the fucking epilepsy, you go to the depression and shit. So, if you're wondering why months get taken off, it's because of that. Because I can't talk myself into doing it. That being said, I officially have a reason. I've been trying to get sponsored. I've been trying to get you jagoffs to buy shit in my merch store so I can upgrade my equipment. That ain't happening. But I finally found something that's going to make sure, it is going to make sure you have an episode every week. By the way, I'm using this pronoun so people don't know who I'm talking about, not because they are asking for this pronoun. I just saw on Facebook one of the dumbest, nuttiest people I have ever met just try to start a podcast. And they made sure to put a picture out there with a $20 microphone, and they say, hey, we're starting a podcast. There is no fucking way I'm letting that dumbass pass me on this podcast thing. This person is in no less than 3 pyramid schemes that I could see on their Facebook account. And they are smart enough to start a podcast better than me? Fuck you. They are quite honestly, the nuttiest person I have ever seen in my life. And this doesn't just come to social media. Knowing them in person, going back to fucking probably 12 years old, batshit crazy since then. There is no goddamn way I'm gonna let them start a podcast and have no competition. There is no way. First of all, there's no way they are gonna be more interesting than me and Chris, and when Chris isn't here, just me in general. Yes, I know I slurred that one. I told you, drunk in a minor league hockey game. There is no goddamn way they are going to be better than us. So, unless I keep these episodes going, they're not going to have competition. So, what you are hearing right now, as my squareheads, that's right, I said it again, what you are hearing is another reason. It is another thing to motivate me to make sure that this fucking works. So if you're a fan of this, fucking tweet it, share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook, buy shit, do whatever you can on Facebook. Because, you know what? I'm not going to let this person have a $50 mic and do anything better on a podcast than what I do, because they're involved in 3 different pyramid schemes. Fuck that. I'm better than whatever they could ever do. So, keep her up. Christ, perfect timing. I just finished my beer right after I got done with all my business. I don't know if he listens or not. This is probably his kind of thing. But Kanye, will you do me a favor and just apologize? I'm not going to go further because I'm going to be accused of a lot of shit if I go in deeper than this. But Kanye, I can't remember the last time it snowed in March in my hometown. And we both know who you went after. The last couple weeks / months, we both know who you've been offending. They are screwing up my golf game. Alright, so just apologize so the snow can be gone. I need the snow to be gone. And it's on you, Kanye. We both know what I'm saying. I just walked... Can we talk... I live in Pacific Northwest. Can we talk logically about the Gonzaga Bulldogs? Can we talk Can we talk logically about them? They're garbage. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they're garbage. They had to battle against TCU to get to the Sweet 16. The third, maybe fourth, hell, quite possibly the fourth strongest team in the Big 12. They had to battle with them to get to the Sweet 16. Can we stop calling them a powerhouse? Can we stop? You're not worth a shit. You're not worth a shit. And you're never going to be worth a shit until you have to face real competition throughout the year. And you don't. I mean, Christ. St. Mary's, who was a better team than you all fucking year, laid an egg against UConn, who hasn't been a fucking team since Kemba Walker has been there. And you're going to sit there and pretend like you're a fucking powerhouse? Go fuck yourself. The way you look at TCU, both national championships games you've gotten to, you're a powerhouse. Both of those games, you laid a fucking egg because you're not tough enough. We need to stop pretending. And as a local fan, we need to expect more from them. If you sit there and say, hey, you're good enough for us at that level, that's the level they're going to say at. I'd like to point out, if you watched the game Sunday, March 19th, if you watched the game March 19th, you realize no students waste their time making the trip. It's Denver from Spokane. It is a less than 2-hour flight, and there is nothing but straight shots to Denver from here. No one fucking went. You know why? Because they are done. Because they know what the fuck's going to happen. You know who goes now? Old people who have no connection to Gonzaga minus where they live. You're finally at the point where people are done giving a shit. And guess what? The Pac-12 is about to have some open positions. You want to prove yourself? Play UCLA twice a year. Play Arizona twice a year. Unfortunately, Spokane tore down the only field that would be big enough to host a Division I football school, or stay in the WCC, but stop pretending like you're worth a shit. You're at the same level as a fucking 16 who just won, so... Another quick thing. I know we're supposed to be pretending like this is a thing, especially since the whole rest of the thing. Look, the greatest woman basketball player of all time decided it's better to work the men's tournament than the female tournament. It's going on at the same time. But Candace Parker said, yeah, you know what? It'd be more fun to work the men's tournament. She's the greatest woman player of all time, if you ask most people. In fact, I'd be hard-pressed to find someone who would argue that. But Candace Parker says, I don't care how much or where my career went because of women's college basketball. I'm gonna work the men's tournament. Make your league more exciting. Make your league more marketable. I'm not as clever as this, but Bill Burr, made the joke. If you broads supported those leagues the way you quote-unquote support all women, we would have no issues. Candace Parker, the GOAT, as all of you call it, thinks it's better to work the men's tournament. So, figure out your shit. This is to ladies. This is what I'm trying to say. Ladies, the door is there for you. In fact, more steps to the top have been built for you than was ever built for any other sport, men's or women. You can advertise at the same time. You can... But before you blame men, and before you blame all that, just remember, the greatest female basketball player of all time, according to you, according to ESPN, according to Fox Sports, according to CBS Sports, because that's who's hiring them, the greatest player of all time decided to work the men's tournament. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what does. I'm not talking shit. In fact, the way the females play basketball nowadays, I find way more entertaining than the way the men play it. I mean, the skill level is much different. But that's not the point. Who gives a flying fuck about the skill level? I watch the XFL. The skill level, the way they play the game, I find much more entertaining. But don't pretend like it's the same fucking game. And don't pretend like we're all supposed to support it the same way when you're not going to fucking do it either. I really hate rooting against Gonzaga. I hate rooting against local teams, and I'm not rooting against the team. I'm rooting against the idea. Be better, and you're not going to be better in the WCC. Well, I promised to talk about this after my last episode, and there's been no new news on this issue, but Tiger Woods, that whole thing, there's no new updates. He still made sure that broad moved out of his house by faking a vacation. Allegedly, this is a story that's going wrong. I'm not going to talk any more about that. Tiger Woods is the greatest athlete of all time, including this story. In fact, this just adds to his legacy. This whole story that's going on right now. What I am going to say is, if you remember the last time he won the Masters, the goofy broad who made sure that she kissed him longer than he hugged his son, you could tell he was trying to pull away and she was just fucking holding him. You could tell that. If you look at that bitch's hat during that, you know that bitch is nutty as hell. I mean, all you had to do was look at the hat, and you could tell that bitch was a problem. And you could see her getting jealous of him going to his son first and trying to get to his daughter after his son, but this bitch cuts in. After looking at what happened in the Masters, what was 2019, his last Masters win, after looking at what happened after his last Masters win, it's her fault. Whatever happened in their breakup, it's her fault. Because you could tell the way that whole fucking thing went down, she was a problem. I'd love for someone to prove me wrong, but, I mean, she's doing nothing but proving me right. I would love to not sound as sexist as I do, but this shit keeps popping up. What the fuck am I supposed to say? When I look at something like that, honey, you're living in a $40 million mansion, and you're crying because you had to move out before you wanted to? You're not paying shit? Even if the worst half of what she's saying happened, even if that happened, you were better off than before him. So fucking take your L and get the fuck out of there. See, I say that, and I'm worth nothing, and I know I'm worth nothing. So if something similar happened to me, I would take my L and leave. That's what I'm saying. It's not a broad thing. It's your lot in life thing. I'm not worth shit. So if I got thrown into something like that, I would know where I stand. Alright, real quick. I just gotta say, today and Thursday night, I enjoyed watching the XFL way more than I watched March Madness. And before you jump my shit, everyone knows I'm not a huge football fan. There's a lot of other sports I like more than football, and more than I like I like basketball less than football. They're probably on an even level, but I enjoyed watching the XFL today and Thursday way more. I don't know what that tells you. Here is... God damn it. I just said I wasn't sexist, but I'm about to sound very sexist. Danny Garcia, The Rock, his ex-wife, who is running the XFL with him, looks like a muscular Rachel Dolezal. When I look at her, and I look at the face, that's all I see. And I hate that I do that because, from the looks of it, because she was basically in charge of rebooting this league and making sure it goes, and he was just the face of it. So it bugs me to have to say this, but God, she looks like a muscular. So here's what I have to say, and I'm all about marketing. Miss Dolezal, you missed your opportunity. You tried to say you were African American. That wasn't going to work. The way you painted yourself up, why didn't you say whatever Danny Garcia is? Honey, I'm doing a podcast with less than 100 people listen to me. That's not true. If you look at my numbers, there's quite a few people listen to me. That's why I gotta keep this going, and because of the dumb person who does this, the pyramid scheme. Why am I... Danny Garcia wasn't hidden when you first started this thing. And if you pretended to be whatever she is, you might still have a job. You might still have a job. I'm telling you, the XFL, minus the talent, so much better than the NFL. The rules they have going, the kickoff, the extra point, no matter how much you try, the point after is going to be fucking boring. Unless you do it the way the XFL does. The kickoff, you want to make sure there's a return, but you want to make sure that someone doesn't die. They figured it out.
Shut up, bitch!
Vince, you started this. Why are you yelling at me? But no, honestly, you look at that, it's a lot of shit was stolen from the original XFL. Unfortunately, it wasn't rule shit. It was just like camera angles and shit. Why don't you look at what's going on here? I will give you the fact that there might be a little too much access to the sidelines and to what they're saying, and I don't know how many fucks you could drop on the CBS. But as far as the rules go, like, you got something cooking there. And NFLPA wants to join forces with them, the CFL. I'm done talking. Well, about that. What? Okay. Real quick. I'm drinking a hazy IPA, which is fine. Which, if anyone has one of those that they want to advertise, be free to, description of this thing says, press play on nostalgia. Honestly, I didn't drink it all through high school. If you're a craft beer person, don't patronize us. All I'm gonna say. But, by the way, I am drinking the one I was talking shit about. And it is fabulous. Alright, we're kind of winding down here, but after the last episode, I promised you a recap of quite possibly the third best sporting event I've seen in the last year. That includes WrestleMania. The Power Slap Finals on Rumble. Rumble, what is he got? It is, they say free speech YouTube. So I don't know what the fuck that means. Anyway, it's YouTube with, it's not Glenn Beck, but a lot of it's a lot of those people. Rumble is free speech. Like a Parler or Parlay or whatever was free speech Twitter. Rumble is free speech YouTube, if that tells you anything. Anyway, they had the live finals on there. And by God, I watched it start to finish. Because you had the 3 hours, the prelims for 3 hours before the main card started, but they always tell you the time of the prelims. They don't tell you when the main card's going to start. I was watching it on TV. I had to go to the convenience store. I fucking watched it on my phone in the car. Yes, I watched it on my phone in the car. I apologize for anyone who thinks that's unsafe. Probably is unsafe, but I make that drive like 7 times a week. Anyway, like I said about that sport, the live finals that they put on is the dumbest, the worst, the greasiest, but surprisingly entertaining event I have ever watched. And here's the thing. I didn't know, if you watch you watch Jersey Shore, and then you meet Sammy, there is almost no way she is trashier than what she looks like on the show. Well, everyone on the Power Slap final who was on the reality show was way worse than they were in the reality show house. How do you find people who are going to be greasier than they were in... These people are surrounded by people who are pretending to be tough, and they manage to be shittier live than they are. I don't know how you are more garbage live than you are on a reality show. That seems like it's impossible. It seems like it's not possible to be more garbage live. I don't know. I'm not an oncologist though, so I don't know what to tell you. What really bugs me is all these people pretending like they're the toughest people in the world. I know at least 3 of the Power Slap finalists. I know at least 3 of them who lost were outcast from the UFC or MMA or whatever. They couldn't crack it in the MMA. But they're going to pretend like they're tough. Another thing is, don't bitches slap. I thought broads are what slap, but you're gonna sit there and pretend like this sport is for tough people who slap. I've been slapped a bunch, and it's never by someone who's tough. I've been slapped and I've been punched in the same night. I was never worried about the one who slapped me. Bitch slap. They call it a bitch slap. And then you have all these people pretending to be tough. No, you just can't handle a real punch. That's why you're trying to be a power slapper. Because you can't handle a punch. But hey, it was surprisingly entertaining. And the undefeated slapper, who was the number 1 of all time, lost to the guy who he beats last time, so I guess that was a big fucking deal. You can't be tough if you're a professional slapper. And here's the issue. You know why it's not a real sport? Because broads slap. And the fact that this is one of the few combat sports where broads should be better and they should be more involved. And the fact that there was no broads on this reality show lets me know that this is nothing. Another issue that's gonna come up. The best slapper in the house, and they're calling the best slapper ever. Clearly, former meth head. You might think that's offensive, but anyone knows that you can tell former meth heads. They just say, like, you've gone just past the level where, like, oh, I can tell you got the voice and you got the mannerisms. Yeah, you've been clean for 10 years, but that shit doesn't stop. The best one they have has that thing going on. And he admitted he's clean for whatever, 3 years or whatever. But you don't lose the former meth head thing. A lot of you are going to think I'm being offensive right now. But the majority of you are going to know somebody who's a former meth head who did fucking meth for 10 years and then stopped, and now they're buddies. You're like, oh yeah, that voice and the way they talk. You're right. That is nothing wrong with it. That's fine. But, if you are a former meth head and you can't get rid of the walk and you can't get rid of the talk, should you be allowed to slap people for a living? Seems like a gray area, and I would like Dana White to address it. Like I said, he doesn't give a fuck. He knows that this is what UFC fan really wants to see, so he's going to make sure it goes. But if you have that much of a meth head in you, it seems unfair for you to be able, I don't know, it's just, how much speed can get out of your system in 3 years? And can you save up that much speed for slap? I don't know. It seems unfair to me. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why not. I can't tell you scientifically. If you've had that much meth where you can tell by talking and walking and standing, if nothing else, an asterisk. You know, they're trying to, with the McGuire and Bonds. I mean, shit, that's steroids. Steroids are legal in some countries. Find me a country where speed's legal. But fucking power slap. I tell you, I went on a whole big thing saying, I'm gonna watch it, and it was everything I expected. And more. It was more garbage than the reality show was. And from the last episode I recorded, I didn't think that was possible. It was the dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen. And it is a house full of dudes pretending to be tough when they're trying to become professional slappers. Slappers? Get the fuck out of here. But, like I said, I talked all that shit, and it was one of the most... In fact, I had my 6-year-old nephew over at my house, and while he was watching Car Control, or whatever he was watching, I was watching it on my phone, and I was loving every minute of it. God damn, it was entertaining, but stop pretending like you're trying to make it a sport. You found another carnival sideshow to put on TV. That's all it is. And what you're worried about is UFC fan only watches UFC for carnival sideshow. So 80% of your fans are gonna see, oh wow, I could sit there and watch 2.5 rounds of people wrestling and shit. Or I could watch what I really want to watch and watch just 2 greasy guys just hit each other in the face and hope one of them gets knocked out. Dana, stop pretending like you give a flying fuck. Alright, and I might be going on a little too long. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening, downloading, buying all the shit. Like I said, because of one of the weirdest dumbest people I've ever known / seen trying to start a podcast, I found a real motivation. I tried for years to get a beer sponsorship, and that didn't happen, and I got all weird, and I'm a fucking head case, so there's a lot of other shit going on. Now that I saw that happen, I'm gonna make sure that that douche. Sorry, I'm trying to not genderize them. So if you know who I am, you know who I'm friends with. I don't want you to know who I am, and tell them they need to go fuck themselves. Now that I saw that they are trying to start a podcast with a $30 microphone and that's it, go fuck yourself. I'm sitting here in a fucking $800 studio, and granted, my chair is fucked up because I'm not the only one using it. But there's no fucking way they're going to be better than me. So here's what you got to hope for. You got to hope that these douche nozzles keep their podcast up, because I'm going to make sure that just because they're in 6 different fucking pyramid schemes, they don't have more listeners than me. Alright, well, I don't think I have anything else. Minus, I do have to reiterate, in the merch store, there are hats now. I'm going to make more. I'm going to do some designs. If you want something specific, you know where the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebooks are. I don't know what else to design. Yeah, but you can help me out. You guys can tell me what you want to see. I don't care. I'll do everything I can to decide what you want to see. But, I mean, I would like to see at least, like, let's say 20 merchandise items sold, so that I know if it's worth my time to design your shit. 20. Kind of comes to mind. Alright, well, that's probably going to wind her down. So, if there's nothing else, like, subscribe, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, share it around. You know where to share it. The people I'm talking to right now aren't fucking sharing it. Share it around. Anyway, all that stuff, Teespring, the links are all on my bios. Beyond that, I love you all, and I'll see you next time.